Hi, I'm Catherine, and today we're going to be talking all about weight loss. And specifically, we're going to be talking about weight loss postpartum. But if you are watching this and not coming from a postpartum place, I do still believe there's going to be quite a few gems in here for you. And I also want to preface this by saying that this is what worked for me. I am not offering you a system or a specific trajectory. I'm going to be sharing all of the different things that I did that worked for me to move through weight loss and continue to move through weight loss because I'm still on that path right now. I also want to share that I am going to be taking this pretty slow. I have it broken down into different parts. So this is probably going to be quite long, but you can always pause and come back to it later if you need to. I also have a bunch of notes. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm addressing my notes because, as again, it's a lot of information and I really don't want to skip anything. And yes, so let's get started. I want to share first about why I gained weight. So I gained weight because I got pregnant, and through pregnancy, we always, or very hopefully, gain weight. And there's like the perfect amount of weight to gain, but everybody's going to be different. But in my situation, I was in my second pregnancy, and in my first pregnancy, I gained that perfect amount of weight. I was in that like 25 to 35 pounds of weight gain. I was very, very, very small. I was like 5'2" and like 107 pounds or something around that when I got pregnant with my first baby when I was 26. And then I got pregnant with my second baby when I was 31, I think. And I was like around 115 to 120 pounds on any given day when I got pregnant with my second baby. And when I got pregnant with my second baby, I had been about 3 months before that, I went through a medical crisis, and I had stepped into the allopathic, the Western medical model because I was desperate with what I was going through. And I ended up taking some pharmaceuticals, which I had really nasty side effects from. And when I got pregnant, it had only been about 3 months that I had moved through the medical crisis and had been completely off any of those pharmaceuticals that I had taken through that 6-month period. I had only been 3 months away from that. So my body was still healing, and I honestly probably shouldn't have gotten pregnant so quickly. And while I had been planning to get pregnant, I hadn't exactly been planning to get pregnant that quickly after my medical crisis, but that is what happened due to how you get pregnant. And I think my body just hadn't fully recovered from what I had gone through. So I think that was like part of the reason why I experienced such a significant weight gain in my second pregnancy. I also went through a lot of stress pretty early on in my pregnancy. So we had to move, and when we moved into a house that had a lot of mold that we were unaware of. And we all, like my whole family, got extremely sick extremely quickly. And then we found the mold in the air ducts. And so we like moved out the night that we found out there was mold. And we moved into my in-laws' house, which is just generally speaking like an uncomfortable place for me to be. And from that, the first move was sort of stressful enough. And then moving again, and I was, I think, like 3.5 months pregnant, maybe 4 months pregnant, when we moved again into my in-laws' house. And it just felt really unstable. Like, where are we going to move? Where are we going to go? What is our plan? And I became like unnecessarily stressed. I felt extremely, extremely, extremely stressed out. And then during that time, I had a really large blood pressure spike, and it did come down pretty quickly, but it was like building throughout the day, and then it was like extremely high. I don't even remember the numbers was, but it was like pretty scary high. And then we ended up moving again. So when I was like 5 months pregnant, we found our house, and then that was the house that I birthed my baby in. But it was like a very stressful few months, and that stress during that time, on top of like the stress my body had been through only a few months prior before I got sick, caused me to start having symptoms in my pregnancy that would, generally speaking, be considered high risk. And I, clinically speaking, developed gestational diabetes. And then I also, clinically speaking, while I never had proper testing throughout my pregnancy, I had every symptom of preeclampsia. So with both gestational diabetes and preeclampsia, we see excessive weight gain. And that's what happened. I gained over 70 pounds when I was pregnant with my son during my second pregnancy, the pregnancy that I'm talking about. And I'm only 5'2". So that's a lot of weight on somebody who is only 5'2". That's a lot of weight to gain for anybody, but I'm quite petite and always had been. And I had never had a significant weight gain like that ever in my life before. I've definitely had weight fluctuations, but not to that extreme. And a lot of it was swelling. I had a lot of water weight. My legs and my arms and my chest were extremely swollen. But yeah, that's pretty much why I believe I gained that weight, is because I was dealing with, like, clinically speaking, some high risk pregnancy things on top of a lot of stress, because my diet did not change at all until I realized I was dealing with gestational diabetes. I did clean up my diet to not have any kind of processed sugar in it, and I followed like some typical like glucose rules of like dressing your carbs, which is not necessarily something I was doing before, but I had never previously had issues with before, and only started dealing with issues in my pregnancy. So that is why I believe that I had such a significant weight gain in that pregnancy. And also part of it, I think, is just I was in my 30s, which obviously, being in your 30s, most women can still get pregnant. And if you are healthy and vital and taking care of yourself, it's unlikely you're going to have fertility issues in your 30s or even in your 40s. But it is a little different. And most women that I know who have been pregnant in their 30s and they have been pregnant in their 20s will say that there's a difference. Like, you do feel that. So that could have been playing a little bit of a part of it too. Okay, so now we kind of have my background right. So I had like over 70-pound weight gain. The last time I weighed myself was 2 weeks before I gave birth. So I was 40 weeks. I gave birth at 42 weeks. And I was 40 weeks the last time I weighed myself. I was 190 pounds. And I was like between 115 and 120 when I got pregnant. So I think that's like 20, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80. Yeah, I think it was like, a 70 to 75 pound weight gain is what I experienced. So we have that background now. And maybe you see yourself in that story, or maybe you don't. And I can only guess that that's why I gained weight. I don't fully know why, right? So then we have the baby, right? And the weight is still there. Not all the weight comes off. We lose some weight because the baby comes out, you lose 7 pounds immediately. I lost 10.5 immediately. That's how big my baby was. And then your placenta comes out, you lose a little more weight and you lose some fluid, and maybe you're down 10, 15 pounds, right? But that's like not that much. And you have weight on your body now. I really want to emphasize that you don't want to bounce back, okay? We don't want to bounce back. Our bodies are meant to hold on to some weight in the beginning. We are meant to have fat on our bodies because we are meant to breastfeed our children. This is the primal biological trajectory of having children. We are supposed to breastfeed our children. Maybe you didn't breastfeed your child. Maybe you didn't breastfeed your child the whole time. I don't know why. That's between you and your baby. But our primal biological trajectory is to birth a baby and have them on our breast and breastfeed them. So we need weight on our bodies. We need that fat on our bodies so that we have the reserves, that we have the energy, that we have the nutrients that we need to continue to sustain life, that we can feed our babies. They say that it's 9 months in, 9 months out. Babies continue to gestate for 9 more months on the outside. That's why they can't walk. That's why they can't talk. That's why we don't birth them and then within hours they're running around and leaping around and climbing on top of us. No, they can literally do nothing. They're little, beautiful, delicious blobs that stay on our chest. So we need that fat. It's really important. When you see a woman bounce back, most of the time, she has thyroid issues. I don't want to say all of the time, but when you see a woman and she immediately bounces back, especially if she looks skinnier than she did before she got pregnant, you start to see she kind of looks gaunt. She's lost a lot of weight. She looks really skinny. You'll also usually see it in the skin. The skin might seem dry. And they also may be losing a lot of hair. There's a thyroid problem going on there. What exactly that is, I don't know. It's probably was pre-existing, but that's usually what happens when you see a woman who immediately bounces back or even looks thinner than she did when she got pregnant. The only other reason that a woman might bounce back like that is genetics. That just might be her genetics. But I feel like my genetics would have called for bouncing back, being very thin right after. But both times after my kids, I had time where I had extra weight on my body. Even when I had my first child and I didn't even gain a significant amount of weight, I still had that extra weight. And my thyroid is healthy. So yes, all of this to say is that not bouncing back is extremely intelligent of your body, and it's not something to focus on. Just let that go, throw it out the window. If you're not bouncing back, know that that's because you are not meant to. You need that weight on your body to continue to sustain your baby and be healthy yourself while you're sustaining your baby. I know that people talk about how like breastfeeding is how you're going to lose weight. It burns a bunch of calories, but you actually that's not what makes women lose weight. I totally believed that with my first child and thought that was what's gonna happen, but it's not. I actually gained more weight after I had my first child because I needed so many calories to sustain my body so that I could sustain her body. Breastfeeding burns, I think it's like between 600 and 800 calories if you're breastfeeding full time. And then we're also not sleeping as much because we're up in the night with our babies. Even if we're co-sleeping and sideline nursing, like we're still coming in and out of sleep a lot. And so we need more calories to keep our hormones balanced during that time. So that's also going to make you hungry. You got to stay grounded. You got to stay on the ground here so that, again, we can sustain ourselves, so we can sustain our babies. So again, just let this whole bouncing back preconception dissipate, let it go. All right, let's move on from that. Okay, so this is the biggest key, what I'm going to share here. I think that if you take anything away today, this is really what I want you to take away, are these 2 points that I'm going to get into. And that first little gem is patience. So like I said, we don't want to bounce back, which means this is going to require some patience. You may not lose weight right away. You might have that initial loss at birth, and maybe in the first 6 weeks, you might lose another 5 or 10 pounds because you're releasing more fluids. A lot of women discuss having night sweats at night. So if you were carrying a lot of fluid throughout your pregnancy, you may experience night sweats, A, because of the hormones, and B, because your body's trying to release all of that stagnant water in your body. But then you might just kind of stick for a while where you're not losing any weight, and maybe you even gain weight because you're eating more to try and keep up with the demands of breastfeeding and not sleeping. So this is going to take patience. lean into that. Lean into that patience. Let that patience exist. Try not to get frustrated with yourself. Try not to get frustrated with your body, and believe in the intelligence of holding on to weight for the time being, and allow for patience. So I want to share with you sort of a trajectory that you may experience in the first 2 years of after having a baby and losing weight. This is not an exact science, okay? But it is something that I have seen in myself with both of my children, and I have discussed with other women, with other mothers who had a similar trajectory. So it's not an exact science again, but it's just something that you may see, give or take a few weeks, give or take a few months. So like I said, I'm really going to be addressing my notes here because I don't want to miss anything. So we're going to experience the initial loss. We're going to have our baby. We're going to lose the literal baby weight. We're going to lose the placenta weight. We're going to lose some blood. We're going to go to the bathroom. We're going to lose some fluids. Okay, we've lost 15 pounds. All right, that's gone. It's out the window. And then maybe in those like first few weeks, you might lose a few more pounds, or maybe you don't. Maybe you gain some of that weight back. And then you're going to probably have a plateau. You're going to sit where you are or gain a little bit, and that could be a few months. You might just like really sit there. You're not going to lose any weight, and you're going to be laying in bed, hopefully a lot of the time, nursing your baby, I hope. And then after a few months, you're probably gonna like maybe 3, maybe 4 months, you might lose a little more, probably not that much, 5, 10 pounds might come off. And then around the 9 months postpartum, when your baby is 9 months old, around that time, maybe 8 months, maybe 10 months, we're moving into the out of arms phase. So we have the in arms phase in those first 9 months. And then our babies have started crawling, maybe, or they're scooting, or they're like a little more independent, sort of. Don't expect your baby to be independent at 9 months, but you might be able to put them down for a second and they're like interested in something else, and they're probably very interested in food. Sometimes my first wasn't at 9 months. And so what I have seen and what I've experienced myself is that around 9 months there's another weight loss, because the milk demand is changing, because your baby is starting to explore food. Your baby is probably, hopefully, maybe sleeping a little heavier at night. Some babies are even sleeping through the night. Mine weren't. Mine still aren't. But they could be, or you may just be waking less. And the baby is also probably on the move at 9 months to some degree. Like maybe your baby's not crawling. My first didn't crawl at all, which is not ideal, but it happens. But she was like moving around, and she was out of my arms a little bit. So what comes with that is like the hormones are changing again. And with that, we may see another loss of some weight. And I am talking about like numbers on the scale, but also things that you are noticing in your body. And then you may have a plateau, and you may even gain back. And this happened to me many times, was I plateaued and then I gained back. And then I would all of a sudden just drop another 10 pounds. So it was like lose a little bit, plateau, go back up, and then a kind of a significant amount would come off. And then I feel like usually around 18 months, this oftentimes is where I see women, and both times saw in myself, where there's been a pretty significant amount of weight loss. 18 months, a year and a half postpartum. But shifting is not done yet. We're just sort of getting like back. I don't want to use the word back, but we're like moving, we're losing weight. We've lost maybe a significant amount. And then around 18 months, I feel like is such a good time to really like be like, okay, I've lost some weight. Like I'm starting to look less postpartum and just more like a human being again, and like I'm taking showers and brushing my teeth every day and maybe you're feeling more like yourself. Of course, you're different because you've birthed a baby, but you're starting to feel less postpartum. You're starting to feel more yourself. And this is a really good time to start adding in some sort of like exercise routine. But we're gonna like go deeper into the trajectory, I think, later. But I kind of wanted to give you an idea. There's gonna be like initial loss and lots of plateaus, potentially gaining back, and then there's gonna be weight loss again. So be patient. If you plateau, be patient. If you gain back, be patient. If you are eating well and you are taking care of yourself and you're, sleeping as well as you can, then it's going to happen. You really just have to be patient. Okay. We're going to dive deeper into all of those points later. All right. The second little gem here that I feel like is super important is you have to believe. You have to believe. You have to believe that this weight is going to move. You are not going to be here forever. This does not have to be how you look, how you feel, how you are, who you are, okay? You just have to believe it. I always believed and I often spoke out loud like, oh yeah, when my baby's 18 months, I'm going to start looking like myself again. And maybe that's why it took 18 months to lose the weight, is because I kept saying that. But it's just because that's what I witnessed in myself the first time and what I've witnessed in a lot of other women who have like just 18 months, there's a leveling out for some reason. I'm sure it's a hormonal thing. I have no science to back it up. It's all just what I've witnessed in others and in myself. But you have to believe in it, okay? It's self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe that you're stuck, if you believe that it's hard, if you believe that it's not gonna change, it's not, because you're telling your subconscious, you're putting this thought in your head that like, oh, it's not even gonna happen. And so you're not gonna do the things that is going to allow it to happen, okay? I think that there's two parts to this. So like, if you really believe it, you have to believe it, okay? It's like, just tell yourself, I'm going to lose this weight. My body is going to even out give it a time. In 2 years, like, be realistic about it. But in 2 years, I'm going to have lost almost or all of the weight that I gained before I got pregnant or before why ever you gained weight, right? I'm going to lose this weight. For me, it was always like 18 months, 2 years. I'm going to lose this weight. Believing that, I feel like it's very subtle. It feels very esoteric, just like in the realm of imagination almost. The word is escaping me right now. But having that belief is telling your body that that's what's going to happen. And so your body is going to do it. Your cells are like, okay, yes, like we're going to change. This is what's going to happen. The other part of the belief piece is that when we have that belief, it's sitting back there in our subconscious. Is our subconscious right here? I don't know. You tell me. It's in there. It's back there. And so you're going to start doing things that allow for weight loss. You're going to go for the walks. You're going to eat the good foods. You're still going to eat the treats, okay? We're going to get into that. You are still going to eat the treats, but maybe you're going to eat a bowl of ice cream and not the whole pint of ice cream, because in your subconscious, you're like, oh yeah, like I'm going to lose weight. And your actions are going to follow that belief, okay? It's self-fulfilling prophecy. So believe in it. Just believe in it, okay? Don't get caught up on it. Don't get caught up on the how. Don't get caught up on the why. Just know, there's like a beautiful little moth flying around. Just know that you're going to do it, okay? Hold the belief. Have patience and hold the belief. Those two pieces are like everything, because I don't think I would have lost weight if I hadn't had that. That's what I did. That is truly what it was for the most part, was patience and belief. Okay, those are the two really important gems. This other piece that I want to share with you is just permission and knowing that, hold on, I'm thirsty. Okay, permission. It is okay to want to be hot. It is okay to want to look pretty. Not only is it okay to want to be hot, not only is it okay to want to be pretty, it's purposeful, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it serves you, it serves your family, it serves the world, okay? We have been given these bodies by whatever you believe in, okay? But we're here, we're on this planet. This is the material world, okay? I like to look at beautiful things, okay? I love beauty. We are women. I mean, you might not be a woman if you're watching this, but I assume that if you're watching this, you're a woman. Women want beauty, okay? We try to make our spaces beautiful. We want to dress beautiful. Whether it's conditioning or not, I really don't think it is. I believe that women want to be beautiful, okay? Women have always taken care of themselves. We've always had our beauty rituals. We've always had ways that we've exercised. We've had ways that we have bathed in oils and salts and mud, and we tend towards beauty, okay? As even all humans tend towards beauty. We lean forward towards beauty. We want to feel beautiful. We want to look at beautiful things, and we want to look beautiful. And when we look beautiful and feel beautiful, when we feel beautiful, when we feel hot, we feel better, okay? We have more confidence. We are moving through the world not from a place of disassociation, not from a place of neutrality, right? Which are fine places to move from if you want to, but I assume if you're watching this, you don't want to move from those places. You want to feel good. You want to look hot, okay? When we do that, we are in better moods, okay? Then we can spend more time with our children feeling good. We are clearing up energy that would be focused on like not feeling good and not looking good. We're removing that energy and being able to put it forward towards something else, something in the world, our family, our husbands, our children, our homes, our community, whatever it is. It's so okay to want to be hot. Also, when we're hot, when we're pretty, when we feel good, when we look good, things open up for us, okay? That's just a fact. Is it fair? I don't know, but this is the world that we live in. So it's okay. Let go of any notion that it's vanity to want to be pretty, to want to be hot, to want to look good. It's an emotional process. It is a spiritual process, and it's a material fact and reality of where we live, okay? When we take care, I keep saying okay. When we take care of ourselves, it's telling God that we care about the thing that we've been given. We care about this body that we've been given. And when we take care of the things that we have been given by God, it's telling God that we can receive more, that we can handle the abundance that is inherently ours because we are appreciating what we've already been given. So again, let go of any vanity around it and allow yourself to want to look hot, because that's real, okay? I want to look good. So that concludes all of the more subtle, emotional, mental, esoteric sort of side of weight loss. And I do feel like those are the most important parts of losing weight, because those are the parts that are going to allow for longevity, because it's something that we're shifting internally about ourselves in this emotional, spiritual sort of way. Without those pieces, I think it's possible to lose weight, but I think that it doesn't flow as easily. I have a history of eating disorders and a history of dieting from the time I was like 12 years old until, like, honestly, if we count veganism, until I was like 28, I think. So and without counting veganism, which I think was fueling my eating disorder, it was until I was like 21. So I know what it's like to approach weight loss from a very different space, and it works, but it doesn't give you longevity. So approaching weight loss from a space that is clear and full of patience and full of belief and full of trusting and full of knowing and full of permission, right? Permission to want to look the way that you want to look without feeling like it's vain or unimportant, right? It's important. It is important. If it's important to you, it's important. I think approaching weight loss from that space is going to allow for it to take place and for it to stick and for there to be longevity. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. We're going to move into the physical things that I did. These are the material, on the ground, on the earth things that led to physical weight loss. All right, let's do it.